Hello friends, Fujo here. It's release day for Rastakhan's Rumble, and instead of posting a gameplay video from Boomsday Project that probably won't matter for very much longer, I decided let's go ahead and talk about some of the cards that we're all going to be able to start opening and playing with from Rastakhan's Rumble. This is not going to be any sort of extensive review, it's just going to be highlighting some of the cards that I'm excited about to play with. I also want to have a little bit of a disclaimer saying I don't necessarily think these cards are going to be super strong, just interesting for right now. And if anyone's ever thinking, should I craft this, should I craft that? If you're on any sort of budget, my answer is absolutely no. Hold off on crafting anything for at least 3, probably 4 weeks if you're on a budget and you're not going to be able to buy yourself a whole bunch of packs. Now, with that said, let's get started. So the first card that I want to talk about is Undasta, the 9 mana neutral legendary 7/7 beast rush overkill. Summon a beast from your hand. This card has the potential to be very, very powerful. At the very least, you can include it into your Baku decks, and you can use it to then summon your Baku, which normally just sits in your hand. 9 mana 7/8 beast, not that powerful on its own because it doesn't do anything. But if you're able to summon at the same turn as you have a 9 mana 7/7 rush minion, that's going to be pretty powerful. And if you're not playing that sort of deck, well, then you can just throw in some Amani Warbears. But that also falls under the Baku category. So we're starting to see this could be a little bit powerful. Amani Warbears, the new 7 mana 5/7 rush taunt beast, which will have a little bit more synergy as well. If you're playing Hunter, obviously you can throw in a King Crush to have that combo with Undasta, which is very nice. If you are playing Warrior, and it kind of seems like people have been theory crafting a little bit of this, you can throw in an Akalai the Rhino, which is another 8 mana 5/5 beast rush. Overkill, draw a rush minion from your deck, give it +5/+5. That's now a lot of things with you interacting on the board all at the same turn. And then also for Warrior, you also then have the Direhorn Hatchling, which again falls under your Baku requirement. So it seems like Baku Warrior might be something that we're going to be seeing on the first day of Rastakhan's Rumble, specifically with an Undasta to combo and help you flood the board a little bit with all of these big beasts that are normally a little bit slower for Warrior to be playing. The next neutral legendary that I want to talk about is going to be Mojo Master Zihi. 6 mana 5/5 battlecry, set each player to 5 mana crystals, very reminiscent of our friend Lotheb from Naxxramas expansion. Mojo Master really has potential to be breaking some combos, and I definitely think it's a card that we're going to see at the beginning of the expansion for the first week, probably first 2 weeks for sure. And at that point, we're probably going to find out if that card is going to be needed, if it's going to see play. And I think one of the big dictating factors is going to be if we see a lot of combo decks. This is going to be a great way to break those combos, and a little bit more effectively than Lotheb used to in the past, because Mojo Master's going to delay a lot of these combos by 3 or 4, sometimes 5 turns, whereas Lotheb would delay a combo by 1 turn. So I think we could see some real Mojo Master action in the future, but obviously this is one of those cards that only time will tell. Now we're going to be talking about some of the class cards from Rastakhan's Rumble that I think are going to be very interesting to be experimenting with, at least during the first week of the expansion. One of the things that people have been talking about in Hunter specifically is the potential resurgence of its quest. Now the Hunter quest was something people really thought was going to be really overpowered and generally has faded into just for fun. Now, there are 2 particular cards here in this expansion, the Springpaw and Halazi the Lynx, that are going to potentially give it a little bit more power, along with zul'jin. Now, zul'jin can operate completely on his own, and after the rotation will operate fully on his own as the new Hunter hero card. But I think for now, most mid-range, more control, even aggro style decks will be able to run zul'jin. Zul'jin's going to have great synergy with the spellstones and all of the quests, so definitely expect to see a lot of zul'jin and probably some of this Hunter quest, just because people have been talking about it a lot and have always wanted to make it work, and there might be some potential for it to actually work here, at least in the first few days of Rastakhan's Rumble. Moving on to Mage, this is definitely the class that I am the most excited about, the class that I play probably the most, maybe too much, some people would argue. We have the Spirit and Jan'alai doing some great synergy. We're going to be able to summon Ragnaros back into Standard, which I think is hilarious. We have a little bit more even odd synergy as well with the Daring Fire Eater and Pyromaniac combos nicely with the Jan'alai requirement of summoning Ragnaros, having your hero power dealing 8 damage this game. And that really lines up very nicely with Frostlich Jaina as well. So maybe there's going to be some odd even package that we can see. In Mage, it's going to be interesting to see if that is going to be the case, or if we're just going to run a more open, big spell Mage package like we're seeing right now in Mage. And especially even after rotation, I know I'm thinking too far ahead and I won't talk about rotation too much. But it's going to be interesting to see what the next mage hero is going to be, to see if we can kind of continue the style of control mage or if they're going to have to move back to more mid-range tempo. Next class I want to talk about is going to be Paladin. There's been a lot of discussion about potential Healadin packages of them running, but I just don't see it working that well right now. Hopefully in the future, next expansion, 2 expansions down the road, no problem. But right now, the issue that I'm seeing is that people are talking about a Healadin package. That's going to push Paladin into control, but every control deck then has to be a better control deck than the current control / OTKs that we're seeing. Has to be better than Mechathune, has to be better than Shudderwalk, has to be better than OTK. And I just don't see it for Paladin right now. I hope it does. The other type of Paladin we're talking about is some sort of buffing deck, which again, maybe will now have enough support to see some play. But again, I'm just not sure that it's really there, which is unfortunate. Hopefully something surprises me with Paladin, but I'm not very hopeful. Moving on to the next class that I'm actually very excited about is Priest. I think Princess Talanji is one card people are sleeping on, and that's because summoning all minions from your hand that didn't start in your deck isn't that hard to do. There's already a little bit of stealing that Priest can do, and then if you add in maybe some Stonehill Defenders, maybe giving you an Obsidian statue or 2, you could have some real power. If this is going to be run in some quests, I know that's getting very greedy, and again, that's a control deck that doesn't do too well against a lot of the OTKs. But if you're able to find some way to make it work, or just, again, accept the fact that you're going to lose those matchups and you beat all aggro and mid-range, maybe you can run a Brewmaster to do some combos the same way maybe you do with Zola, and you can have some really powerful turns with Princess Talanji. The one legendary I don't think is going to work then, obviously, is Boan Samdi, comboing with Spirit of the Dead. It's a great idea. It's super cute. I love it. I'm going to try it. I don't expect it to work. Surrender to Madness has been hotly debated ever since it was revealed. I'm kind of neutral. I might give it a try if I open it. It's not something I'm going to craft. It'll be interesting to see what happens with it. Moving on to Rogue. I'm very neutral on Rogue in terms of wanting to play it. None of these cards are really exciting me, but the one thing I will say is Spirit of the Shark probably can be very powerful for the reason that it is allowing you to have battle cries and combos trigger twice. Now, we've seen that effect once before with Bran Bronzebeard, and Bran rotated and was a legendary, so you can only ever do that once per game. But now Spirit of the Shark, you can have 2 of them in a game. They're rare, meaning everyone can craft them, even if you spend no money on Hearthstone. If you're a complete budget player, you can craft it within a couple days. That has real potential to be very powerful. It'll be interesting to see what people do if it becomes very... And I know I'm about to say tempo, and I know playing 4 mana 0/3 is anti-tempo. It's 4 mana to do nothing on the board. But then the following turn, you can have some real explosive turns. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm just probably not going to play it too much myself. Up next is Shaman, who is likely getting some OTKs. At least some OTK attempts, especially early on at the beginning of Rastakhan's Rumble, with the addition of Totemic Smash. 1 mana, deal 2 damage, overkill, summon a basic totem. That's great. The totem doesn't really matter because you're going to have 2 Totemic Smash in your hand, 2 Lightning Bolts, Eureka, and a Malagos. And I know that's 6-card combo right now, but you're going to play all of them and deal 30 damage directly to face. Oh, your opponent has some armor. That's fine. You drop a Kragwa the following turn, get all of those spells back, and do it again. Obviously, that's a lot to pull off, but I think there's some potential here, and people are definitely going to try to make it work, myself included. The other legendary that's cool is Zentimo. Zentimo is really cool. Whenever you target a minion with a spell, it also targets adjacent ones, can work offensively, but also defensively. People have talked about the combo of having Wind Fury and Rock Biters and being able to do a ton of burst damage in the late game. And all you need is a few minions on board, and you can do tons and tons of damage. It'll be very interesting to see if that works. There's been a lot of theory crafting about how Token Shaman decks can work. It seems like Token Shaman decks will still have a lot of support. They have for a few expansions now. So definitely expect this to be in play the first couple days of the expansion at the very least. And don't be too surprised if with 10 mana, your Shaman opponents are bursting you down when all they've had on board is 3 totems. Warlock is, for some reason, now getting a whole bunch of hand buff mechanics. I'm not very excited about this. It'll be interesting to see how it works. I don't think it'll combo that well with Zul'jin, and I don't see a mid-range control style of Warlock really needing this. It'll be interesting to see if it works, however. I'm just not very excited about it. The last class that I'm going to talk about, but certainly not the least, is Warrior. We've already kind of talked about Akalai and how that's going to combo with Undasta. I think that's really the big combo to look for when you're going up against Warrior in the first couple days of Rastakhan's Rumble. Sul'Thraze, a super cool WoW reference, but I don't think it's going to see a lot of play. Warmaster Voon is kind of interesting. I think that card is really setting up for the future of Hearthstone expansions, much less so than what we're seeing right now. Battlecry from your Ember Scale, sure, gaining 5 armor, 5/5 dragon for 5 mana, that sounds great. I don't think there's enough support for a dragon warrior package right now, but it will be interesting to see what happens in the future. I really think Warmaster is setting up for 1 or 2 expansions from now. Okay, that's it for this video. I didn't want to get into any sort of detailed rating systems for all of the cards. I just wanted to showcase some of the big cards to be watching for in the first couple of days of Rastakhan's Rumble, so you're slightly less surprised by some of the combos that your opponents are throwing out on the board. I hope this helped a little bit. Hope you have a great day. Good luck with your pack openings. I'll see you soon.